directors' lives are really boring. All my colleagues are really boring. I prefer actors. They are a little bit more interesting. I think that actors are a very, very, very interesting, complex creatures. I think that in order to be successful, you have to not be yourself. That put them in a very difficult thing. And they're very complex. So, and in a way, I think being this film and exploration about ego, they are very attached to that. Even when it's not true, they are the most exposed people to get the validation attached to that prejudice. But I think all of us, in a way, are victims of our own. But I thought that would be a much more understandable subject that I wanted to explore if there was an actor. I would say perception, maybe, that being a theater actor is a little bit more craft. There's a craft that belongs more to the prestigious, knowledgeable actor than the movie stars, which are normally more conceived as celebrities, right? And I think this is something that really the reality happens. Many actors, film actors, are going to Broadway to prove themselves, validate themselves. And there's always this kind of rant or kind of bitterness between the theater actors that in a way never translate their talent to the screen, but they are incredible talent in the theater, that in a way, are jealous about the popularity of the other actors. So I think this battle is real, because it's true. I feel that I have been all of those characters, not only Michael. I think I'm all of those, or I have been, or I have known of them, I have observed them, I have worked with them, or I have been victim of them. so I really relate to all of them, and I think that, and I don't think that nobody escaped from that, I would say, painful realization that my, I would say, ambitions are in disparity with my limitations and my possibilities, and that creates an incredible amount of frustration when you confront your mediocrity or your reality. Always we are raised about like, oh, you are beautiful, you're keen, you are great, you are privileged, you are unique. It's bullshit. We're not unique. We try to do that, but we educate people and they born people with that kind of self-confidence. At the end, you have to realize that it's not true. And I don't think nobody escaped about that. My mom and my dentist and everybody has, not only the actors, but me, I think you and everybody, you struggle. And my creative process has to do very much with this process. I think it is 2 steps forward, 1 step down. And the eternal question of if it could have been better, it's obviously something that the ego subconsciously is demanding of you. And that's eternal. It was after I was finishing the script with my co-writer partners that I realized that Michael will laugh. That meta-reality to the film, because the reasons that he has been, and he has the authority to talk about something like this when he has been not only the first Batman global franchise that he built that. He is the first one who really did the voice in a way, and in a way I think few people has worked that cape. So he has that, bring the meta-reality. So I knew that was a powerful element to play in the film. And at the same time, I knew that I wanted, and the script was written in order to approach things with some comic or humorous kind of situations, even when they were painful. Not ironic, not cynic, but, I would say seriously funny. And I knew that. And if there's somebody who embodied that, it's Michael. Somebody, he's seriously funny. He's a guy who can really play drama. He can play a comedy. He seamlessly can go to one to the other. I didn't know that, but I knew that he could be. And then his character is selfish and he's a prick. It's not a very likable guy. And I want that has some actor who has the capacity to be charming, even when he was a selfish prick. And I think this film, so this cast literally did it for free and all of us. And that atmosphere could have been, you can feel that in the set. That we were not there to be paid or whatever. I think we were just doing, because I call this a laboratory, an experiment of grammatical language, cinema, and explore different ways to perform this kind of, explore this technique that I was trying to explore. And it was a mutual trust, them in me in them, that took us to a good level that I think they showed. Automatization. There is a liberation of the conscious where you can just play and you can manipulate that with, as if you ride the bicycle. You can go fast, you can go middle, you can go slow, because you domain the mechanics, you are not thinking about it. You just graciously do it because you have trained. It's very unnatural, but you own it. So when you train and rehearse, you own. And then there's the other thing that is like the acting that provides that kind of theory that rehearse is almost the worst thing because it lacks the energy of the moment or the improvisation, the feel, whatever, which sometimes works, but you cannot rely on that all the time because not all the time you're a genius. Sometimes you're a genius, not 70 takes or 70 scenes. And I think this film, I was lucky to count with both. What I'm saying is that we rehearse, we prepare meticulously for months. Everything is absolutely conceived. They don't need that. But when they said, okay, camera ready, rolling, and you know that it will have one or two takes, but the same take, I will not be able to help them in editing, nobody will manipulate it, it's that. And if they don't get that, they will be exposed bad forever. Mm-hmm. So the actors were shitting their pants as if they would have one take. So in a way they bring all the training and at the same time the energy and fear and adrenaline of the one take. So by having both things, it came to something that I'm very proud of. It was difficult because obviously we have to bet on to get an actor naked outside a plaza that is full of crazy people. There's some naked people out there, but anyway, we didn't have the amount of extras or control. We have to bet in the logistics to make it happen, and how where to put the camera and how to be so intimate to have him basically suffering and being close to him, but at the same time seeing the massive kind of scale we were shooting. And the trick that I came with, which I feel very proud, is that I didn't know how to control. I said, when we do the first shot, people will realize, and then we're fucked. I mean, in that moment, we will be just trapped, and everybody will be saying hi to them. And one Saturday, I was walking in New York, and I saw this young black band of drummers, and they were fantastic and moving. I said, fuck, there are drums. This is the concept of the music, because I want to be very radical. There's only drums as a score, and I get these guys. I hired them. I planted in the middle of Times Square, so everybody just was distracted by them as I was getting away with Carver since I was 20 years, and I thought that two reasons. One is that I think Rick and Thompson in ignorance. That's why I said to inspect the beauty of ignorance, because sometimes the ignorance can bring you to some magical, mysterious way to be clever in some ways. He will be the only one who will think that can adapt Ray Carver short stories in a Broadway place. And it's a bad idea. It was a magnificent bad idea to do. But I thought this is great for him. It's very. And then, so he will hit the wall. And then that story about love, about looking for love of this character, which is that real story about. I love there's this character that is always begging for love, and he shoot himself, and he failed, which is it's funny in a way. And I thought it would be great that he became not only performing the character that, but suddenly his life will become the character in that fiction thing. So I thought it was interesting, again, a mirror in a mirror. And thematically, I thought that was very accurate, because the only thing that this guy is looking is to be loved. That's why I put that point of Carver, which he wrote when he was 50 years old and dying. After that, he said, the only thing that, I achieved in my life to be love. And Ring and Thompson has been all the time looking for for affection, not admiration, as his wife said. But he don't know. He realized it later. So thematically is the root of all that he's looking.
You know, it's interesting, much of this discussion around the film, it's actually
a stupid, horrible play. I wanted the play suddenly start collapsing by accidents. You know, that suddenly this unexpected actor, that an actor get drunk and demanding honesty and suddenly or hard on because he needs honesty and he wants to love to her there. And, you know, suddenly it was out of control, a situation that he couldn't control, or he get trapped outside of the actor, right? So I mean, but you never know if really is terrible or not. I mean, it's kind of, you know, because I never thought that he was a terrible actor. It was just that he was just known by this franchise thing, but it was not a terrible thing. It was just that he didn't have the pedigree to play there, and he was not Shakespearean. So I want that. And something very difficult for me at least to find, and with the actor we discuss a lot, is that the difficult to shoot a film that is about the play that you play is that they have to perform as actors in the play to the audience in the theater. But if they play full theater actors, it will look horrible because you have to speak like that, you know. I love you, my dear, come here, you know. So if you shoot that, it will be like a terrible acting, even when it can be a good acting for the theater audience, because that's how it is. And if they just do it as a film actors, just talking, you will never believe that they are performing. So for me, it was hard to find that measure. What was real for the audience, but what was neat for me? Yes, as a director of the film for this audience. So I have to please this audience, and I have to please the other audience. So that's why it's confusing, because it's in that space of being truthful for both. It is that in the theater scene in New York, we all know, there's one or two guys that really rule the industry. That's really differently from cinema. There's a very almost dictatorship figure of one guy that really can shut down. And so that's real. So basically, for a character as Regan Thompson, the perfect, I would say, antagonist would be that person that will give him the chance to leave or to be validated. That's the only thing that he wants. More than his wife, more than his daughter. He wants to be validated by the art community and feel that he worth something. So who is the perfect antagonist? That critic. That is the last. Is all what represents for him the judgment. His mom, the priest, everybody. Like, okay, did you accept him? Did you validate it? So when she confronts him in that way, so honest, and the way I like her, because she said things that really I believe is true from her point of view. That's why he overreacts and kills her by what he thinks is his truth, which he's right in some point. So I always was very, very aware and very, I would say, depending of never, in a way, make a personal comment about anything, because I didn't want to laugh about these guys. I didn't want to be above them. I didn't want to observe them. I didn't want to be above them and say, oh, yes, these guys are like that, or laugh about it, or point me to anybody. I honestly, the exercise for all of us when we were writing was, it has to be truthful then. It has to be truthful. It has to be honest. And I think in the point of view of those characters, what they say to each other and what they are going through is true. What she's defending is pure art and that, puritanism of that. And what's going on in the industry is not fun for anybody. And she expressed it. And he has the other point, which is true to it. That dictatorship has to be questioned. Why? So anyway, I love that she's very an antagonist that has the stature to be the villain. And that she played with the narrative that I really love it. But of course, it happened only to him that he empowered her to be who she is for him. And he's fault. Right? When you empower people to tell you who you are, then he's completely broke. So he did that. I think that for me, again, for me I was a little tired of doing films that I knew I could do. And I turned 50 years at that time, and I was kind of boring and trying to find something that really get me excited about it again. I want to work again, something again that I knew comfortable. And I have been all my life, and I started feeling that I kind of knew what or know what to do. It doesn't excite me. So this laboratory, as I called him, I said, well, this laboratory experiment, try to do some and pushing the grammar of things here to defend my right to fail and fearless to go there. I really began to feel much more energized, absolutely terrified, but by that same reason alive and aware, and I feel very proud of the film because honestly it could have been absolutely a disaster. But by doing it, I feel again like a child who is playing with blue and red and black and without breaking the rules. And that, what I learned is that I will never do a film again as I was doing before this one. I think for me this was a transitional thing. I enjoyed it. I laughed in the set. I really had a great time. And it was a good exploration for my own fears and exposing things that I'm bothered with or I'm afraid or I can laugh about it. So there was a kind of a therapeutic kind of thing that it was a very liberating thing of losing fear to fail and jump to the void and get something. If it's words or not, the people will say it, but for me already has been a fantastic experience.
Well, terrific.
Fantastic. Woo! Brilliant.